The city that never sleeps became the city that stood its ground. What began as an ordinary day on Canal Street in Manhattan turned into a defining moment of public defiance against the Trump administration's immigration enforcement machine. It started in Chinatown, a neighborhood alive with vendors selling handbags, trinkets, and food, many of them immigrants and refugees who came seeking safety and opportunity. On that day, black SUVs and armored vehicles rolled in. ICE agents under Trump's directive were prepared for another televised raid. Their goal was to arrest undocumented workers and showcase federal power for Trump's political base. But the plan didn't go as expected. Within minutes, the streets transformed. Locals, students, shop owners, and activists flooded Canal Street. They linked arms, masked their faces, and surrounded the agents. "You will not take our neighbors," they shouted. "You will not turn our city into a stage for Trump's politics." The chants grew louder. Phones recorded every second. And before long, the agents began to retreat, step by step, vehicle by vehicle, until ICE was gone. It wasn't violence that pushed them out. It was unity. It was a moment when New York refused to bow to intimidation. That standoff revealed something deeper. Trump's immigration raids were never about security. They were about control and spectacle. Each operation was political theater meant to stir fear and justify federal intervention in liberal cities. His strategy relied on creating chaos, not solving problems. But on Canal Street, the illusion cracked. The people saw through the show. Videos from that night captured the shift. ICE agents losing formation as the crowd chanted, "Shame," echoing through Chinatown. No one was arrested. No one was hurt. Yet an entire federal operation collapsed under the weight of civilian resistance. The encounter exposed the fragility of Trump's power. His strength was never real. It depended on fear. When that fear disappeared, so did his control. The crowd's defiance showed that nonviolent resistance can be more powerful than any show of force. Ordinary citizens, armed only with their voices and cameras, made a federal agency retreat. For Trump, who thrived on division and anger, this was a political defeat. His administration sought to paint cities like New York as lawless, using chaos to justify crackdowns. Instead, the world saw a community unified, not through violence, but through shared courage. When New Yorkers stood together, they shattered his narrative of dominance. That moment carried lessons far beyond Manhattan. It reminded Americans that democracy doesn't only live in courtrooms or Congress. It lives in the streets, in the moments when people refuse to accept injustice. It showed that solidarity can outlast fear, that unity can dismantle intimidation. Trump's strategy has always relied on division, turning Americans against one another, stoking resentment between cities and rural towns, between races and religions. But on Canal Street, people built a different kind of wall, not of concrete, but of humanity. A wall that said, "You cannot deport our dignity." When ICE vehicles drove out of Manhattan that night, it wasn't just a tactical withdrawal. It was symbolic, a reminder that fear can be defeated, that power built on intimidation crumbles when the public stands together. For every chant, every camera raised, every person who refused to move, a new kind of resistance was born, one grounded in conscience, not violence. Trump's ICE operation failed not because of political power, but because of people power. His agents left empty-handed, and his narrative of control unraveled on live video. It was a night that proved courage is contagious, and that the strength of a city lies not in its buildings, but in its people. In the end, what happened in New York wasn't just a protest, it was a blueprint. It showed how ordinary citizens can confront fear and expose false authority. The city didn't just protect its residents, it exposed a presidency built on performance and fear. When ICE retreated, it wasn't just a tactical defeat. It was the moment Trump's illusion of control broke under the weight of collective defiance.